Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video where I talk about my thoughts, all of my thoughts on the books I read in March. Now you guys, I read some really good books. Let me look, I'll just show you kind of a few things. I read a new release thriller, tell you all about my thoughts, and then I read a book that surprised me, you guys. This book surprised me. I remember seeing this when Book of the Month had it, and I was like, no, that book's not for me. Well, yes, yeah, I was wrong, but that was before I started reading all of the Shannon Chakraborty books that I could get my hands on. But like I said, I have lots of thoughts. I have lots of thoughts to share with you in today's wrap-up video. So hi you guys, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, all the things. So March was another hard month, and I'm really just tired of saying that. I'm tired of talking about it. It was just different hard. Like, my husband was in the hospital hard, and I chatted more about this in my homeschool update video where I like to talk kind of about our life update. So I won't talk about this here. I'll link it above if you're at all curious. But really all the events of the beginning of March affected both my homeschool, like I talk about there, but my reading. And I mean, that's to be expected. That's not a big deal. I'm not upset about that. But I did end up kind of rallying and ending the month strong with some really good books. So I have 5 books to share with you today. I'm going to start with the book I read for my reading challenge, which is always linked down below. And so we read this book. Me and a number of people, we buddy read every month. And this was the book that I had chosen. You guys, I love these books. And I'm not quite sure why I love these cozy mystery books as opposed to other series. Actually, no, I do know why. It's the characters. So, first off, sorry. The book is called The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. So this is the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series, okay? I think there's currently 4 books out, and I'm working my way through them. They are so good. Really, it's the characters of Joyce, Elizabeth, Ron, and Ibram as they are retirees in this village called Cooper's Chase, and things seem to happen there. And this is about a man who knows Elizabeth and comes to Cooper's Chase and is saying, like, he is on the run. He has been accused of stealing all these diamonds and he needs a place to stay. Will she help him? And that's how it starts. And so I'm not going to give you much more than that. But as for what I think about it, I really enjoyed the characters, like I just said. But what really draws me in these books is the character interactions of especially the main 4 characters, but some of the side characters as well. Some of the like detectives in this small town I also really enjoy. But there's just really some sweet banter, but also some kind of more serious and honest conversations when you're talking about like older age and death and dying, as well as like dementia, and it's just kind of, I like the way the author handles that. I like the way the author brings it up in their lives and in their conversations. It's just a really fun look at kind of later years and friendship and things like that. And then when it comes to the actual mystery of the book, I actually thought it was a really clever mystery. Like, we're definitely in the mystery camp. We're not in the thriller camp. This is very much a mystery, like whodunit idea, and I didn't guess who it was, but yet along the way I was trying to guess, and there was a lot of just kind of things that led me astray and stuff like that, which so I really enjoy when mysteries do that. I think I ended up giving this, can't remember if I gave it 4 or 5 stars, but either way, I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I feel like I gave it 5 stars. I need to check. I gave it 4 stars. I'm not quite sure what made me not give it 5. I'll have to think about that. So that's the first book I read this month. And please join us for any future months because those are just fun. It's a very casual reading challenge, buddy read situation. But as for the next book, I'll just talk about the Amina book because this is another book that I was trying to read at the beginning of the month because I had a buddy read for it. And I just kind of dropped the ball because the beginning of the month was so hard. But then I did pick it back up. You guys, I really enjoyed this book. So it's called The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. Now, I gave this 5 stars. And I think I was kind of waffling between 4 and 5. But I have found that when I finish a book and immediately I like Google, like, is there a sequel? When's the release date? Things like that. Then I know like it's a book that I really want to continue with. And so 5 stars. 5 stars. I love Shannon Chakraborty's writing style. I feel like she does a great job of kind of action and intrigue and things happening. And there's high enough stakes going on here. But she also does a great job with characters. And Amina is a fantastic character. And I think the character of Amina can maybe turn some people off. Why it worked for me? It worked for me because Amina is an older character. So I'm actually not sure how old she is. But I kind of pictured her in like her 40s. And the general synopsis of the book is that she has been pulled out of retirement. She used to be this notorious pirate of the seas, right? People are still talking about her as this giant woman pirate who did all these things, right? But she has been retired and secluded with her family, and she has a daughter. And then there's a job that pulls her out of retirement. And I thought it made sense because I feel like what gets me sometimes with some books where there's a mother character is sometimes I feel like the mother figure is just like, okay, yeah, I'll go on an adventure and just leave my child. That usually bugs me. I feel like in her case, it made some sense. Yes, there was a bit of she had to choose to go on this and leave her child behind with her mother. But I don't know. It still really worked for me. It still really worked. And I really enjoyed kind of this gathering of the crew, if you will. So we got to meet people from her past, people that used to be on her ship, sort of idea. She's gathering them for this adventure. And that was really fun. I felt like the pacing was good. The beginning definitely had the setup part of like getting the gang all back together set up. So I can see how some people might say that it is a bit slow at the beginning, but I appreciated that. I appreciated that there was enough like loose ends where I didn't know exactly what had happened on the ship. I didn't know exactly what had happened to her. All these things were kind of left unsaid, and you knew that those things were going to be answered, and I was so curious. I was so curious what would happen. And so as they kind of get it all going again, I liked it. I felt like there might have been a little unbelievability as you got to the end, as the action was kind of reaching its peak and things were resolving in this book. I felt like maybe it didn't make total sense, or it could have been explained better, or I'm not sure. But I don't tend to read looking for plot holes. I was along for the ride, and I really enjoyed the ride. And I love that it's set up for future books. And so I've heard that she is currently writing the second one. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also excited to finish out her other series, which is the David Bad series. I'm reading that in April. I'll link my reset video for April because I'm so excited for that. But let me talk about another book. And so I read this for kind of a loosely organized buddy read on Gwen's Patreon. I'll link her down below. We all read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie in January. And so we wanted to read another one. And this was one I actually hadn't read, and it was high on my list for Agatha Christie because I have a number of Agatha Christie's I haven't read yet. Oh no, those ones I have read. There's some over here that I haven't read. But this one I really wanted to read because I really want to watch the movie. Now this is Murder on the Orient Express. Guys, this was really fun. I'm again waffling between a 4 and a 5 star. I think I landed on a 4, but I might bump it up to a 5 because as I'm thinking of some of the other Agatha Christie I've read, this kind of sits closer to And Then There Were None. And that book is just my ultimate favorite of hers. And so this has to do with a murder on a train. It very much has an isolated setting where they're snowed in. So it's not like anybody could have come from the outside to commit the murder, if you will. And so then it's just a matter of lining up all the suspects, which I really enjoy. I enjoy the ability to try to solve it. And I like when it's in a very organized fashion, like this person is in compartment 1, compartment 2, and they even had this like map of the train compartment, the sleeping compartment that all of our characters or suspects were sleeping in. And then it had kind of the timeline of like what happened, who was where, what are the clues. And I enjoyed that. I felt like even the way that this book was set up was different than say And Then There Were None. Mainly because it had a detective. This is a Poirot novel as opposed to And Then There Were None, which has like no detective. And so in this book it was set up in 3 parts where you kind of get the event and then you get the interviews and then you get like the wrap up and conclusion. I feel like it was very clever. As it was going, I felt like I was starting to put some of it together. I was like, that is suspicious. That is weird. But I don't know how that fits into the end, and it totally did, the things I was noticing. And for me, I realized that when I notice things, it's kind of obvious. It's like Agatha Christie did that on purpose. She wanted you to notice that this is starting to become peculiar, but I still couldn't solve it. So you guys, such a good book. So I read that one. I read that in March as well. And then, like I said, I did read a new release thriller. And I read Murder Road by Simone St. James. So I've read The Broken Girls by her. I really enjoyed it. I've been meaning to pick up some of her other books, like the Sundance Hotel, whatever that's called. I've been meaning to pick it up. But what I really liked about The Broken Girls was the mysteriousness of it, the kind of historical aspect, as well as the supernatural. She does supernatural. That's kind of what I've noticed. And that even says this on here, because this is basically about a young couple who is recently married. They're driving on their honeymoon to this resort, and they find themselves on this road, this notorious road that has resulted in a number of murders and people being hurt on the side of the road, usually hitchhikers. They find a woman and says there's a woman, a hitchhiker, along this deserted road, and they stop to help her and they bring her to the hospital, and then they become the main suspects in this case. And it goes from there, and I feel like, okay, I liked some things of this. I am notoriously a character-driven reader. I struggle with thrillers because of that. Although I do feel this was a little bit more character-driven than some. I liked Broken Girls for that reason. I enjoyed learning about the characters. But this one, I feel like I really liked the character of Eddie, not so much the character of April. And I realized as this book was getting going that we were going to learn more about their backstory. And we did. And that is important in this book. This didn't have a past future timeline, which I believe most of her books do. So I kind of like that that wasn't the case, but I don't feel like she totally landed it either. So I'm giving this a 3-star. I enjoyed it, but I don't want to say I wasn't like wowed by it, because I don't think a thriller has to be so crazy, like, right? I feel like I've read some crazy ones lately, like The Last Word and The Only One Left, the latest Riley Sager. Like, I felt like those were just kind of like twist after twist after twist, which I do like, but I don't think a thriller has to be that. I think for me, a thriller, I do the best with thrillers that are really clever, like super clever. And it's a bonus if I like the characters, if I engage with the characters. And I feel like this one maybe lacked a little bit in cleverness. It wasn't bad. I still was entertained, so I still liked it. So I gave it a 3-star. That's what I thought of Murder Road, the newest Simone St. James. All right, so the last book I finished out. I talked about last month, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it's Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. It's the set of novellas. So there's 5 novellas. I read the last 2 this month and kind of finished it out. So my final thoughts on this is I feel like the character of Selena, which is our main character in the whole Throne of Glass series, I feel like you get more information of her, right? And I said last time that I read the first 3 books in Throne of Glass. I can't remember them. The last one I had read was the green book, like Heir of Fire or something like that. And then I stopped to read this one because I had inklings of where the 4th book was going to go, and it felt like it needed some of this information. And I think that was really helpful to get some of her backstory, some of her apprenticing for the like notorious assassin in this main city, right? And that's what this book is about. It's about all those stories. I feel like she reads consistently. So I do like this. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I feel like it was consistent with the character of Selena in the first 2 books. Again, I forget their names, Throne of Glass and then whatever that second one is. Where the character of Selena is, she just like makes stupid decisions, really. She's just very impulsive, very full of herself. Oh my gosh, so full of herself. And that's consistent in here. You do get some important storylines, like the boy named Sam, which is referred to a lot in those first number of books. You get the story. And it revealed some things that are very useful, I think, going forward. But I'm honestly really glad that the main character is not still like this. That I feel like as she was in that 3rd book, the green one, I feel like I liked her character a lot more. Like I felt like she was definitely growing and maturing and all of those things. My favorite story was probably the shortest one, and it was the one that involved the girl. She was like a healer, the healer girl. What's it called? Oh, The Assassin and the Healer. It was the shortest one in here, and it was probably the one where Selena was kind of toned down. She wasn't so full of herself. She wasn't so like, I'm the most awesome assassin ever. And I think I liked that. I think I'm more drawn to her character, and I'm hopeful for the rest of the series. In all honesty, I've heard good things. I feel like I've gotten through some of those earlier books where her character is just an idiot, and I'm hoping her character doesn't stay that way. So, okay, that's all I have to say about this book. I'm glad I read it. I can now move on with the series. It won't be in April because I'm reading all of my book of the month books, so I'm going to try to do that. Actually, I'm changing my mind. I think I might give this 3 stars or 3.5. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad it was consistent and it made sense with her character, but it's not really a 4-star book. I'd say it's more of a 3.5. Oh, here it is. Yes, Air of Fire, the green one. So that's what I read. That's what I read for March. I'm having a good reading year. Honestly, you guys, this first quarter's been really good. I've picked some good books. It's been a challenging year, but not for reading, and I'm glad because reading brings me a lot of comfort and I really enjoy it. That's it. That's all I have for this video. I hope you all are doing well. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next book video. All right, take care.